All right, advisory board teammates, great to see you all. I am absolutely thrilled to be here with Kelly doing this session. Kelly comes originally from corporate America. She was a VP of sales at a billion-dollar company. She's my guest here today and through DealCon. And not only did she set records every single year for 10 years in a billion-dollar company, she then decided that she wanted time freedom because her daughter was born and she didn't want to see her children raised by daycare and schools. So she needed to find a way to get her time freedom back. So in the hour in the morning before she'd go to her corporate job, and then in the 1 hour lunch break she'd go to her car, and then in an hour in the evening, she would use those 3 hours to build and manage and develop her book of business to start her own entrepreneurial endeavor. She took that to over 7 figures while working as a corporate full-time sales director. And within, how fast did you go to 8 figures?
18 months.
18 months after that, 8 figures.
From when I went full-time, yeah.
So we're talking about, this woman is an absolute killer. Like straight up, okay? Gangster, killer. Yeah, when it comes to building and managing a book of business. Do you want to grab that, Travis? Thank you. Come on in. Yeah, come on in. So, Kelly, I've been studying her stuff. In February, I think I sold an extra 60 or 70 grand in like organic sales in my hiring company, in my consulting company, just from what she's going to share tomorrow on stage, which is a very simple strategy. We'll cover it briefly here, but make sure you're there tomorrow for the whole big thing. And in my law firm roll-up, I've applied the exact same strategies, and it's helping me to nurture opportunities that we're not ready to close on right now, but we're making like an undeniable bond between the acquisition target and me, such that when it is time to pull the trigger, there's no doubt that they're going to do a deal with us. I mean, there's always doubt, but relatively speaking. So now a couple fun facts about Kelly. She was actually an NFL cheerleader. She was a cheerleader for the Philadelphia Eagles. So yesterday's Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah. So she had a very interesting perspective on yesterday's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And she's accomplished more than a lot of humans would in like 5 lifetimes. So she has virtual business school where she actually teaches sales methodology to entrepreneurs from 6 to 9 figures. She's appeared on every single outlet you can think of, from Forbes to Inc. to all the rest. If you take what Ayala was teaching earlier about LinkedIn to generate leads, like how do we now nurture those leads to generate that book of business, Kelly's got the playbook, and it's not rocket science. However, it requires a certain mindset and skill set, and she's got that on lock. So let's give a round of applause for Kelly being here.
Thank you.
You have literally a top 0.001%. She's the Robin Sears of selling. Okay, of selling. Okay. So we have about half an hour here. So I'm gonna just kind of try and accelerate the conversation a little bit on a couple key points, and then after that, I'll go back and forth with Kelly. Then after that, I'll do my best to create still kind of 15, 20 minutes of Q&A. One of the advantages to being an advisory board is that we get access to each other, right? But we also get private time with a speaker and expert like this, rather than competing with 100 plus people in the main room. So I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to do that. Okay. So Kelly, thanks for being here, first of all.
Of course.
And from what you've seen so far here, and by the way, one other fun fact: Kelly's looking to acquire. Okay. Maybe partner. So if you want a killer in your team, maybe she's someone you could do a deal with. Okay. So Kelly, from what you've seen so far in our DealCon here today, around the idea of generating leads and generating deal flow and then managing that deal flow, what wisdom do you think we as a group here would benefit from? What attitude, what approach do you think we're missing to be able to really nurture deals and generate a vivacious book of business where we have that crushing demand kind of on tap?
Absolutely. Well, so I'll just say this, my background is in sales, obviously, and I see sales as stewardship. I see sales as the highest form of champion people to their highest potential. That's why I love it so much. My approach to sales is probably very different than anything you've ever observed online from people that teach sales. So I'll start by saying that. But you said, what is my observation from today? Well, everything we've talked about today is just the equal and opposite of sales, because doing mergers and acquisitions, everything we talked about today, it's just the other side of the coin as sales, right? And the same things that will drive a healthy and profitable organization are the same things that are going to, A, put you in a strong position to acquire, but also to be acquired, right? To your question about how do you make sure that there's always a healthy pipeline? How do you make sure deals are always getting done all the time? I teach something called the Miracle Hour. The Miracle Hour is what I started out in my little Jeep Liberty on my lunch breaks, and it was my bridge to freedom. As Tim mentioned, I built a 7-figure business while I was carrying a 60-hour-a-week executive job. I was breastfeeding my newborn daughter. I retired my husband so that we could both be home full time, and I didn't want to keep traveling all over the country. I was managing 17 locations. I wanted to be home with my family. And what Tim didn't mention is that my proudest accomplishment is actually not my portfolio of companies, it's that I homeschool my daughter. And so I teach her entrepreneurship, investing, Christianity, and me and my husband do that jointly. So he teaches all the traditional subjects. I do the business ones. That said, how is that possible? How do you always have deal flow? And in your minds, I would almost say, when you think of deal flow, I would always say, how are your dreams always coming true? Because it really doesn't matter whether it's a pipeline for business acquisitions, it's a pipeline for new customers, it's a pipeline for new JV partners, it's a pipeline for a new company you want to roll into a roll-up that you're doing. Having an hour of proactive, structured activity that nurtures relationships in a strategic way that stewards your gifts is, bar none, the simplest, easiest way that you can not only build a profitable 8-figure company, but keep your pipeline full all the time. And just I'll add one more thing, and then you can add your follow-up questions to it. I'm writing a book on this right now, and I'm releasing a book on this next month, and I'm writing another one, because after helping hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs build businesses online, I can say with certainty and confidence that the average entrepreneur does not spend even one structured, disciplined hour per day doing strategic, outbound, profit-producing activities. And what I'll add to that is that if you spend an hour a day on anything, within 3 to 6 months, you'll be 100% better at it. Within 3 to 5 years, you'll be one of the best in the world at it. So think about that for a second. I want to repeat that. If you spend one structured hour a day on something with intent, 3 to 6 months, you're 100% better at it. 3 to 5 years, you're one of the best in the world. So what I teach entrepreneurs to do is spend 1 hour a day strategically adding value to relationships that they would like to acquire in some way, shape, or form. And I always say, you can apply this however you want. As I mentioned already, I have some clients, for example, they have massive book launches that they're working on. So part of their Miracle Hour is going to be pitching publicists, pitching traditional publishers, so on and so forth. For some of you, it might be JV partners. For others, it might be deals that you're nurturing. It's really important to understand, a lot of people put emotion into the sales process or even into the deal acquisition process. The vast majority of deals get done in the 9th to 12th follow-up, and on average, for people to be ready to consume and invest with you, they have to consume between 7 and 11 hours of your content, of your brand, in 5 different places. You can massively accelerate that by doing something like the Miracle Hour, where every hour you have 1 hour a day that is dedicated to strategic nurturing of key relationships that I call it, are the crystal ball of your future. They might be clients, they might be JV partners, they might be businesses you're gonna acquire, they might be networking. Like, I recently started doing this with key strategic relationships of mine where I wanna invest in those relationships, right? So you can apply it however you want, but 1 disciplined hour every single day. The other thing I'll just say, about sales is, first of all, like, understanding and like deal flow, for example, the cycle of that sale is a lot longer than the sales cycle of acquiring a customer, right? Can we agree on that?
Yeah,
it's more work and more time to do a deal.
To acquire a company, the sales cycle could be years, whereas getting a customer might be months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so can I tell a quick story?
Please.
my first segue into sales, is anybody familiar with QVC?
Yeah.
Home Shopping Network? Okay. So, okay. My first segue into sales, I was doing my first sales and recruiting job in Westchester, Pennsylvania, the home of QVC. And you got a database that was by territory. You were only allowed to sell in specific zip codes. Did anyone do like old school territory management like that? Am I the only one? Okay, he knows exactly. See, he's shaking his head because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I come in, I'm a new hire, I'm like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I'm so excited. I'm like, let's freaking go. And they sit me down in the first week and they're like, here's your territory. And by the way, don't sell to this company and don't sell to this company, and definitely don't sell to QVC. We've been selling to QVC for 10 years. You're never gonna close them. You're never gonna do business with them. But here's the problem. In any given territory, there were only a couple key companies that had a large enough workforce for it to actually make a substantial difference in the book of business to close them. And I had done that calculation really quickly. And I was like, if I want to make a name for myself in this company, I have to close the Chester County Hospital, I have to close QVC, I have to close Mars Drinks. I knew I had to close Verizon, Mars, QVC, Chester County Hospital, and a few others in order to do what I was trying to do. So I basically said, well, let me look at what these people have been doing for the last 10 years. And they had been kind of like whimsically, like QVC was on the list. Like they'd like to do business with them. And they had continuously stayed in touch with them. And I said, well, what if every single week I called, I emailed, and I stopped by? Every single week. Well, you know what happened within 6 months? I did what they told me they had been trying to do for 10 years. And we were working with QVC. Okay, and I'm not special, and there was nothing special about what I did. All I did was I compressed the sales cycle by being more consistent and by adding more value to the process. And that's what any of us can do with any relationship that we want to accelerate. We can be more consistent and disciplined in how we invest in that relationship, and we can add more value to it. And that's why I say sales is stewardship, because to me it's a sacred process, and the S stands for stewardship. Stewardship is you sharing your gift, your knowledge, your expertise, your powerful insights, your diagnosis with someone who you can unlock their dreams. So in this case of this conference, for example, how do you think that it feels when you acquire someone's business and they get to do a successful exit and they get to go spend time with their children or their grandchildren because you just acquired their business? You just made their dreams come true. What does every business owner dream of? Having a successful exit, right? Most businesses die. They don't get sold. The vast majority of businesses do not get sold, right? So when you are pursuing someone in your deal pipeline, you have the opportunity to steward them and champion them to their goal and dream while also making yours come true. And to me, that's what all of sales is about. What are the gifts that you have? How can you deploy those gifts? And then how do you build a set of resources that you are going to use to make it a total no-brainer to constantly have your pipeline full and moving all the time? You don't have to think about it. You don't have to question it. So I'll give you just a couple things to think about from that perspective, and then maybe we want to answer some questions, or maybe you have questions. So, you know, I always say this, right? We know it takes 7 to 11 hours of someone consuming your content in order for them to be ready to buy. And that can be 7 to 11 hours of you on the phone with them, which sounds like, I don't know about you, but like 7 to 11 hours of phone calls is not really the thing I'm going for. But there's a lot of other ways to achieve that. You can create bingeable content, private podcast series, audio books, physical books. You can send out magazines. You can send out resources. The biggest deal I ever did in my entire life, still to this day, I closed a company called CTDI. It literally reinvented our entire landscape of business in the entire state of Pennsylvania, not just in my territory, for about 10 years. After I had been calling on them for almost a year with no response, one day he finally just called the office. And one of the key things I learned about sales is like they totally ignore you until they're ready to do business with you. It was the first time I'd ever even heard this person's voice. And he said, I want you to come in for a meeting. And so I come in, and it's this old, like, kind of scruffy guy, and he's like kind of like sizing me up like I'm this 21-year-old kid, and he's like, what in the hell are you actually going to tell me or do for me? I have people here all day, every day, right? But he's like, I'm going to give you a chance because you've been stalking me for a year now. And he says to me, why do you want to work with CTDI? And I opened up a folder, and I showed him a printout of the philanthropy work, a huge award that they had actually just gotten organizationally for philanthropy work that they were doing in the community. And I said, I understand how much this work means to you. And I said, if you work with me, I'm going to help you get a more productive workforce, and there's going to be higher profit margins in this business. And if you have higher profit margins in this business, guess what you're going to be able to do? This award that you just got for this work that you really care about, you're going to be able to reinvest so much more in the community and in what I know matters to you. Done deal. Book was closed, tens of millions of dollars of business, and we just grew and grew and grew and grew from there. That's what stewardship is. It's knowing what's important to people. It's looking for ways to add value to people. It's approaching every conversation not like what can I get, but what can I give, which makes it really easy to continue to follow up with people that you'd like to do business with, because you're not banging down the door saying, what can you do for me? You're actually saying, hey, like, this is something I can add value to you in your life, which is why I'm such a fan of having kind of like a catalog. We've been talking about this even over the last couple of days, whether it's your best podcast that you've recorded, a tool that you can give away for free. For me, one of my top things, I give away thousands of copies of my books, whether it's digital or physical. We physically send them out to people. We also give away digital copies of them because, let's be honest, leaders are readers, right? Your best buyers are people that love books. How many people in the room have a book?
I'm more of a listener, but...
Okay, we give away audiobooks. We do the same thing with our audiobook. We're doing that right now. We're gonna give that to you guys in just a second. So having a catalog of things that you do to add value for others, and then having a list of people that you know are the crystal ball to your future. Every single person in this room has $100 million sitting in your DM inbox, in your text messages, and in your emails right now. And the whole world is obsessed with more and chasing leads, when the key to everything that we want is actually better. It's building relationships.
So I'm going to ask one question, then we're going to turn it to the room because this time is already flying by. So I mean, in terms of chasing customers, let's say, content marketing, obviously well-known method, right? What if you're someone like who is closing deals with like major Fortune 500 companies, and they're like, well, that's cute that you have a podcast about X. Like, to me, I feel like sometimes the retail level, I struggle to know. So, or in my case, I'm acquiring law firms. Like, what am I going to say to an attorney that is going to feel relevant and valuable?
Yeah. So the thing that you have to remember is that you're selling to humans. And so what's so interesting is things that are normalized online and so much is placed value and attention is on, they actually have less diminishing value when you offer that to someone in the corporate space or you offer that to someone who's outside of the online space because it's not as normalized, right? So to me, like the number of $1 million clients I closed on a handwritten note, like ridiculous, right? So I think a lot of times that's exactly what we do is like we think that the bar has to be so high of like how are we going to impress someone? How are we going to add value for them? And what we have to remember is they're just humans. And the best way to understand how to effectively add value for someone is to dialogue with them. And if you can't dialogue with them, which for me, when I was selling to Fortune 500 companies and when I was selling to bigger businesses, now I work with smaller businesses, so I'm in a totally different model. But my origin story is selling to very big businesses. I did not get to talk to those people as I was selling to them. They would not talk to me. They would not answer my call. They would not pick up the phone. They would not respond to my email. The first time I ever got to speak to them was when they called me in for a meeting.
So are you just like, hey, and like sitting in your Jeep Liberty in front? Like, is that the only card you have to play is like calling incessantly? Or like, how are you finding other ways so that you're not just a nuisance?
Sharing articles, sending handwritten notes. You know, like when I'm on a magazine, for example, we'll send those magazines out because they have amazing articles inside of them. Knowing what's going on in their industry, knowing what a concern is to them, right? Even if you can't talk to them, you can pretty much figure out like, we're in the trust recession and every business is scrambling to get customers right now. Like if you have a tool, I'll use you as an example, that allows people to leverage AI to reach more people faster, to be able to nurture more relationships more quickly. Like there's endless ways that you can add value. And you either do it directly if it's a person that you can speak with and that you can, I call like assess the buying triggers, assess the gap, ask them just a couple questions, which is basically like, where are you versus where you want to be? You know, what are the key things that are most important to you? What have you tried? Why don't you think it worked? What are you looking for in the next decision that you make that you think will help you get there? Like simple, basic 101 type stuff. If you can't talk to the person, then that's when you have to do like the example I just gave you with CTDI. He was not willing to talk to me. So I researched the shit out of his company. I knew the charitable events that they were doing. I knew the acquisitions that they were doing. I knew what was going on. I knew every update on their website. So if you can't talk to the person, then you do your own research. And now with the tools that we have, it's just unbelievable. I was selling back in the day where we didn't have social media where you send a DM that takes 3 seconds, literally 3 seconds. And what I thought was really interesting from one of the talks earlier, Ayala was talking about how
Ayala.
Yeah. You do 100 outreach touch points and you can probably get a deal. Well, in the Miracle Hour, we teach get 100 touch points done in an hour and you'll get a sale. And it's the exact same numbers.
Did you hear that? 100 touch points in an hour. Most of us are not doing 100 touch points in a month.
Yeah.
She's talking in an hour every single day, at least 5 days a week. Most of us suffer because we don't hit the volume requirements.
Yeah.
So
and people are closing deals before they get done the Miracle Hour. Like this is like rapid succession. Like by the time you're done, you already closed a deal. You're on to the next, right? And I'm not saying it's going to be the same cycle with acquiring a company. That's different than acquiring a customer. But how many people here would love to spend an hour a day and get a new high-ticket customer every day?
Right.
Right? I mean, I don't think anybody would turn that down.
How do you hit 100 in an hour?
It's so easy. It's so easy. It's literally.
This is why she's a killer. Yeah.
It's because when you know, this is the thing though. It's when you, okay. I wrote a book called Conviction Marketing. And the book is all about how I built my first company to 8 figures without following trends or fads or doing any of the stupid, ridiculous, insane things that people do online all day, every day to like attention hack and try and overcome the algorithm and stuff like that. I built my whole business on integrity-based, stewardship-based, value-add content and relationship building. And I built teams that can sell. How do you touch 100 people in an hour? When you, instead of doing what everyone else does, which is just chasing more, which by the way, like the top of your funnel, like the readiness to buy of the people at the top of your funnel is so low. Like only 3% of people are ready to buy at any given time anyway. So you're just missing out on 97% of your opportunity. The Miracle Hour is about building relationships with the people that are the crystal ball of your future. So for example, how long would it take me to send an audio message to Tim to do a touch point in that relationship? Less than 1 minute. Can I add value for Tim in less than 1 minute? Yes, I can. Because I know what Tim's working on. I know what some of his goals are. I know things that I can shoot over a quick audio. He can respond to me. I can take action. Boom. It takes less than 1 minute to do a touch point with a relationship that you are truly cultivating versus just like random, like throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying to chase new people. You have no idea what you're doing, but that's where all the deals get done. And for me, like I said, I've done a lot of things, I guess, like materially or like that are valued in like the cultural world, which none of that means anything. But like to me, the other side of the rainbow of when I was sitting in my car doing the Miracle Hour was retiring my husband and being home homeschooling my daughter and having total like family freedom to be able to do things like focus on my faith and focus on my daughter and grow our family and invest in the things. And I think the average entrepreneur spends 30 hours a week or more doing things that are growth oriented in intent, but indirect and therefore ineffective. And I've seen this pattern over and over. It's why I'm writing a book on it, right? Because I'm like, everybody wants more freedom in their life. Well, how do you get more freedom if you still want to grow? Because does everybody here both want freedom and want to grow?
Yeah. Yeah.
We all want freedom and we want to grow. How do you accomplish that? By creating leverage, by creating systems that give you back your time, right? Whether it's breaking founder dependency with your team, which my full team does the Miracle Hour. So they make sales without me every single day. I actually don't have my own Miracle Hour database anymore. but I have a full team of people that do. So you build systems with your team, you empower them to multiply and duplicate. And then if it is going to be you, having a system for your time, having leverage, and actually investing in relationships and following through versus like skating at the top of the funnel where everybody sits, that's like so unproductive.
Okay. So in a moment, I'll take a question or two. I just want to so get your questions ready. Carolyn, we'll go to you in a sec. So just to make sure I'm locking in the learning here, I'm looking to acquire law firms, and so maybe an educational piece I could create would be like 10 steps to exit your law firm, and I could send that out, and I could interview past attorneys who've exited, what worked, what didn't work, and I could create a whole thought leadership around that and just fire out podcasts and books and like that would be an application of it. Okay.
Absolutely. Right. And it's so easy to create so many of them, and this is all we do all day long. Like I am doing a lot now on Substack, and like people will pay you just to access your thought leadership. But what that does, it also attracts your future bigger buyers. So they're sitting there consuming your thought leadership and consuming that kind of stuff from you in advance of doing the bigger deal with you.
Awesome. Carolyn.
This might be a stupid question, but I'm gonna shoot my shot. How do I build a Miracle Hour database?
So hang tight 1 second.
Things I can use in my data wheelhouse.
Can you repeat that for the recording?
Oh yes, how do I build a Miracle Hour database? So are you talking about the assets that you're gonna share, or are you talking about building your list of people?
Ooh, maybe we cover both.
Okay, so as far as the assets, it's exactly what Tim just said. So think first about your people. So who are your people? Who are the people that you want? Investors.
People who want to put $250,000 or more.
Perfect. Okay, great. So what are the top 5 things that they're most concerned about that hold them back from either finding the right deal to invest in or that stand in the way of them making those investments?
Trust in the plan that we have and just feeling comfortable. Know, like, and trust. It's the same thing as a normal sale.
Okay.
Know, like, and trust factor.
Okay, so one of the best things that you could do is you could do a deep dive interview series that you can turn into audios, videos, and PDFs, where you actually interview the people that have made those types of investments with you. And basically you do this as a case study series where every month you're dropping a case study, and they can choose video, audio, or written form, depending on what their personality type is. And you're not selling them. What you are doing is you are showcasing for them what this can look like for them. What can this look like when they find the right investment, they trust working with you through the process? What are the steps going to be? What was the before? What was the after? What is the outcome, right? And then reach out to those people and ask them if they're willing to make themselves available to have a conversation with people that might be interested in learning about getting started making an investment like this. Make sense? Yeah. So, and you're not selling, but you're selling, right? And that's the best salespeople in the world. And I say this all the time, like I sell all day, every day. If you follow me on social, like I'm a sales machine. I'm always selling all the time. But I give so much value that people don't feel like that. They don't feel like that when they interact with my brand, because I have people tell me every day, I grew my business for free just listening to your videos or listening to your podcast or whatever the case. So you're giving them an education on what is possible when you make this investment. What's the process? What are the risk factors? How do you build an insurance policy against those risk factors? What were the things that those specific clients were fearful or frustrated or worried about before they did this deal? And then how did you work through that with them? And then what was the outcome of that? And that could literally go on for forever, by the way. Like forever. To the point where they're like, wait a second, everyone else is having success with this but me, right? And then every time you just put the QR code, book a call, let's talk about your next steps.
And probably if she combines that with independent knowledge of each prospective investor,
100%.
the charities, the interests, the dogs, the whatever.
100%, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, does that help? A good starting point?
Before we go to this part 2 question, is there anybody else who has a question? So there's 2 parts, right?
Yeah, so
2
the
parts to the
building
question?
of
100 people
yeah,
every day.
yeah. Okay, so don't worry about that for starters. We always walk before we run, right? When people start this process, it's like super slow and super awkward. And the biggest thing is, like I always say, you have to train for your business like an athlete trains for their sport. Athletes come in, they go to the basketball court, and they make sure their shoes are tied first. Then they go out and they start running the drills on the basics, and they run the drills and run the drills and run the drills. And that's how we have to think about our businesses. I always say 8-figure founders are obsessed with the basics that 6-figure founders are too advanced for. And that is the truest truth of anything I could sit here and say to you guys, because I work with all of them, right? All day, every day, I'm in the trenches with these people, right? And so our basic foundations as founders are relationships. And when you think about starting to build this list, I always say, think about all of your products or all of the key goals that you're currently working towards in your business. And your Miracle Hour can have a mix of different objectives that you're working on. So some of them might be these people that you're targeting for this, but some of these might be lawyers that specialize in M&A that could be your referral partners for investors. One of your categories in your Miracle Hour might just be like brokers or like, do you understand what I'm saying? So like for us, my team, when my team does Miracle Hour, they have all the products in our product suite. So like they have a whole Dream 1000 list that's for our legacy leaders. That's all our multi-7 and 8-figure clients. And for that program, Called to Lead, which is my like global female event, right? They have a whole list for people that they're inviting that. And every single product, they have a list of targets for. Everyone starts from zero. Everyone starts from, oh my God, this is a freaking mess. Okay, I tell people, like, go in your Stripe and pull your reports from the last 5 years. Like, go in whatever your accounting software is that has all the information of your past customers, your current customers, and then you start opening up your phone. And you're gonna be like, oh my God.
Yep.
Like, it goes from, I don't know how I'm gonna touch 100 people to like, I have so many people that I have dropped the ball with that like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. And I've had people go from, Kelly, this is so overwhelming, I don't think I can do this on day one, to like 3 weeks in, like, I just made another 100 grand, like, what can I do to speed this up? How can I get a team member doing this, you know? So you just start, right? And I say start with a Google spreadsheet. I'm super tech challenged, Tim knows this. He's trying to school me on AI. I'm like, break it down like a kindergartner. So I'm working on that part of this, but you can start this with just a simple Google spreadsheet and start getting deals done right away. And then like once you're having wins from it every day, it's really easy to keep going because like we all like winning, right? It gets a lot easier.
So I don't know when we're going to get kicked out of the room, so I'm going to put her QR code on the screen. If you want to, so this book is not released yet. Can you quickly
It's
just
not released
tell
yet.
them and I'll put it on the screen?
So the Miracle Hour book is getting released in about a month and a half. But what I'm doing is I'm gifting you guys the Miracle Hour audiobook. Miracle Hour audiobook for early listening. It's free. So just download it, sign up for it, and we're probably going to release it to you guys within the next like week and a half. You'll be on the early listener list. And it walks you through like A to Z, like the whole process, the 5 types of weekly sales, how to build out your Dream 1000, how to structure it, key activities, like the whole deal.
The question is, I have a service agency, or I have various agencies. Everything we've built has always been inbound sales. So we're doing hit ads, we're doing cold email. We don't do much on the outbound side, and everything's pretty much founder-led from the sales point, from the sales organization side so far.
Yeah.
So how would we go about, or at what point would we go about building out an outbound sales team, and what would that team look like?
Well, you don't even need, so this is like that situation that you just described is like a dream come true. Like literally, I'm like, oh my God. Because you already have the leads, but no one's actually championing the leads to success, right? And that's really how you all should think about it and describe it to your team. Like they hold the keys to the kingdom for all of these people. So all these people are coming to you, they're interested in your service, but no one's doing anything to help them get to their goal. And so you don't need, why do any outbound sales if you have leads coming in? What you need instead is someone that is going to nurture and build relationships, segment and qualify, identify who are our top 10% leads that are coming in that are best fit, for our products and services, get them on each of your categories for your Dream 1000, and just start going through the process, the relationship building process with them. So I will tell you this, because I train everyone in my organization to sell. My ops people sell, my sales people sell, my marketing people, my service people. all of my best salespeople have always been the people that do service delivery for clients, because they are the ones that know the transformation, they know the results, they know the product in and out. They beat my outbound sales team completely. So you don't need an outbound sales team. You're in a great position. But if you could just get one person, even someone that has like a very caring, like nurturing personality that is on your service delivery team, that's like good with people, this is a massive opportunity. Then you align the right incentives. You make sure the comp plan is incentivizing the behaviors that you want, and like you're off to the races. No reinventing the wheel needed.
And no super complicated funnels and
No.
whatever, algorithm dependency
No.
on whatever. So, okay, so implied in what you just said, we would need some kind of a reactivation sequence then. So for example, at my executive assistant company, Great Assistant, we had 1,000 clients last year. I couldn't believe it. Like, I just started this company 10 years ago and woke up and there was 1,000 clients.
Yeah.
And I started studying your stuff and I'm just like, oh God, am I supposed to reach back to someone from 2016?
Absolutely.
And what do I
Like,
say? And they're like, who the hell is this Tim guy? Like, can you walk us through
One
that?
of the most important things that I learned working for a billion-dollar company, and you guys, any of you that have a background working for larger companies, if you've been in their sales divisions, they all have an outside sales team and an inside sales team. And all the inside sales team does is reactivate past customers and expand market share in current ones. Why? It's the most profitable area of the business. It's 7 times more expensive to get a new customer than it is to get an existing one or an old one to buy more. So I always tell people, like, that list of 1,000 customers, those past customers, that is your like most important asset besides retaining your existing customers. If you're going to start anywhere and you want like an easy, just like cash machine for your business, take one of your strongest players on the team, give them a great incentive plan, and get them to start working your past customers and get a great welcome home offer, and it's just gonna print money for you. Because I don't know why I've been like ranting and raving about this for 10 years, and I do have like my own customers doing this, but it's still not widely adopted in the entrepreneurial market to focus on reactivating past customers.
Okay, so let's say someone hasn't heard from me in 8
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
They might not even know who Tim Francis is. They might
Yeah.
even forgot that they even got their EA from
Yeah.
us. That EA might even moved on. Who knows?
Yeah.
So are you telling me that I should reach out to that person and I would theoretically have one of my teammates do it who wasn't even on the team back when we hired them?
100%.
So walk me through, what do
So
they say? What's the approach, tactically
They
speaking?
would literally say, hi, my name is so-and-so. You worked with Great Assistant 8 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. We placed someone with you. We wanted to get back in touch and hear, what are you up to in 2026? What are your top priorities? What does hiring look like for you this year?
And leave, okay. And
That's it.
and something I love that I heard on one of your other sessions from you and Danielle was like, someone does not leave your Dream 1000 unless they explicitly say, I don't want to be there, or they die. Yeah.
Exactly.
So like along those lines,
Let me tell you why, though. Let me explain why. Because the most important lesson that I ever learned in sales is that the best buyers are the busy buyers. The best buyers do not have time to sit around and talk to you. They're going to be the least responsive. They're not going to reply to your messages. They're not going to reply to your phone calls. They're not going to want to sit. I always say, Chatty Cathy is broke. Busy Bob is off doing deals. Who do you want to work with? So you can't be emotional and say, I'm going to stop following up with this person because my emotions are hurt because they didn't respond to me. If they're a good customer or a good potential customer, then hopefully they are busy. Hopefully you are not their top priority. Hopefully they are off doing business, right? So that when they do become a customer, they're a great one and they can pay their bills.
And so like, so we reach out to someone from 8 years ago. It's one of my teammates.
Absolutely.
And he may hear nothing, but you're like, just keep him on the 10-day rotation.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 people divided by 10 days,
Yeah.
it's 100 people a day. Keep him and keep hitting them every 10.
Yeah.
So like every 10 days.
Hears from you every 2 times a month. And the easiest way to do that is to also, when you build your resource library, to just have like something, there's 2 resources every month that are going to be focused on, so that like you don't even have to overthink it. You're like, oh, let's create a 2026 hiring guide. So for the first half of February, everyone is going to get the 2026 hiring guide. For the second half of February, everyone is going to get this tool for doing salary comps for the next hire that they make, to understand like what has changed in 2026. Right. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so now my job becomes like the thought leadership person, right? And actually,
That
my
is exactly.
my AI tool helps me to generate thought leadership because AI is a thing, and we want
Yes.
to include it in our businesses.
I am very open to AI. I just need to be taught in
We'll
a
work on it.
way
We'll keep working on it.
that I can understand it.
We'll keep working on it. Okay,
Okay.
so then my teammate is taking my thought leadership.
Yes.
And
they
twice-
are- that is their job. Your team's job is proliferation of the brand. Your job is to be the founder, the creator, the genius, the thought leader, the person that is putting out insights, perspectives, bodies of work that matters. Your team's job is to proliferate that, to multiply and duplicate it, to create variations of it, to share it, to disperse it. Your job is to make it unbelievably easy for your team to sell. And how you do that is by building a strong brand and by creating great thought leadership pieces that people are excited to receive, so that when they get these pieces, they feel like you just gave them something so valuable that the scale of reciprocity is always tipped in your favor. It's always tipped in your favor because you're always giving more than you're asking. And that makes it really easy. And that's our top job, right? Our job is to make it easy for our teams to go out and multiply and duplicate the business. But if we're down here, it's really hard to do that. You gotta climb.
So just to be super clear, my random staff member is going to reach out to someone from 8
Yes.
years ago, and if they hear nothing
They're
back
going to keep following up with
for
them,
for
yes.
another 3 years, for 36
okay.
straight months, they're
It's
going to get
Because
nothing.
one day they're going to get a random email and they're just going to get a sale. And you have enough people. I call this detachment. Detachment is when you do enough of the right thing that you know deals are always getting done all the time. Like you don't need to, like how you just asked me 4 times the same question because
Yeah.
you thought I was going to let you out of that. You don't need to be attached to anything or anyone ever because you're just doing enough. Like that's what systems do for you. Right, AI guy? That's what systems do for you, right? When you follow a sales system, what that does for your business, and again, you can say sales system for acquiring customers, reactivating customers, acquiring businesses, it doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. Sales is sales is sales. You do enough of the right thing, deals are always closing. Deals are always closing, and you don't have to put pressure on it or overthink it or keep questioning it. You just do the touch and you keep moving. You keep moving because you just spent 30 seconds on it because you know who you're talking to, right? Like I could get on the phone with Nicole. I could call Nicole on my team and I could have her read through hundreds of names of people right here, right now, and she will tell you, this is what my last touch was, this is what's going on with them, this is where they're at in the process, this is when I think we're gonna do something, right? And you will get to that point. Everyone starts from zero, but then you build,
Right.
right?
So okay, so we've talked about thought leadership pieces. What about like liking people's content on LinkedIn or connecting with them, or you post like?
Yeah.
I mean, so that it doesn't feel like actually, if I'm reaching out to someone every 2 weeks with another thought leadership piece, they're like, I didn't opt in for this, I didn't ask for it. This is a flat system. I'm just getting a white paper every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To add some humanity to it, how do you?
Are they locked out?
No.
They're looking inside and deciding they don't want to be part of this room.
Okay.
their mistake.
So I am.
Or is that enough? Is that fine to just be like, here's a blog post every 2 weeks and we keep
you
it simple?
can't. No,
No.
that's not fine.
Okay. So what is fine? What is fine?
Okay, there has to be some variety. We need to spice up our lives, right?
Okay.
So like, don't just, as soon as something just becomes monotonous and robotic for you, it becomes white noise for them. So that's the best way to think about it. So be smart, be interesting. Like, I know for me, like when I'm in a creative zone of genius and I'm putting together thought leadership pieces that I believe matter, there's never going to be 2 weeks or 2 months where I'm like sending someone something that even feels like remotely the same, right? So I think it's freeing up that like mental load, right, to be able to do that. To answer your question about the commenting, right, we do talk a lot about that. And I think obviously you want to be like authentic and you know, caring about what you're doing. But if you look at people even that have hundreds of thousands of followers online, they might only have 15 or 20 comments on their content. And one of the greatest gifts that you can give someone is commenting on their content because it boosts in the algorithm and then their potential clients see it. So I'm a huge fan of that because it adds value for them. it's a gift to them. It puts your name in front of them, and there's only a handful of other people that are doing that. So it's a great way to create top of mind awareness. I also think it's really important to like be in touch with people in different ways because one, different people consume in different ways. So we have to remember that, right? That's why I was talking about like with your pieces, for example, like do the video, the audio, and the PDF because then people can consume in the way that fits for them, right? But the same way with communication. You could be emailing someone every 2 weeks for 6 months, they never respond. You DM them one time on Instagram, you get a response in 3 seconds. So you can't be robotic or one-dimensional in your sales approach because if you are, you're kind of defeating the whole purpose of like what we're talking about. Does that make sense?
And that's a bit of my concern is like someone's like, oh, it's the every 2-week market report from the real estate agent that's exactly the same thing. I'm just tuning it out now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
so it shouldn't feel the same. It shouldn't feel robotic. There should definitely be a lot of variety in what you create. And I think that comes back down to like elevating your role as the founder to create strategic think pieces and to actually like be a thought leader, right? Like thought leadership was like a huge buzz phrase back like when, like 5-7 years ago. And then like it was just like bleh, like LinkedIn just went crazy and it's just gross now and like there's no actual thought leadership, right? But so there's a lot of talk of thought leadership, but thought leadership in reality is actually extremely rare. So the best way to stand out is to like actually create quality things that you think will make a difference in people's lives and like put the energy into that. And then, you know, teach your team how to do the miracle hour so that they can be responsible for dispersing it. They don't have to come up with it, but they can use your thought leadership to nurture and to grow.
I had a chat with James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, and we were talking about quality versus quantity of content. And he really doubled down on like, your book should be the best freaking book on this topic, you know, because in this age, how fast things can proliferate, if it's really good, it goes miles and miles. So, okay. Any last questions? We haven't been kicked out, but I'm hearing a buzz out in the main area. I have a feeling we may be kind of getting to that time. Any final questions for Kelly? Going once, going twice. Okay, so her book is on the QR code here. What's your handle on socials?
So Kelly Roach Official on Instagram. If you're there, just Kelly Roach on Facebook. I do a lot on Facebook. I know it's old school, but like I love it, and I've made a lot of money there. So if you want to come hang out on Facebook, that's all like my original writing. If you're a Substack person, is anybody here a Substack person? Yeah, Kelly Roach. Sacred Art of Selling is my Substack, and it's all about becoming a maximizer of human potential, making millions of dollars and doing good in the world. So if that interests you, come over there. I don't know what my LinkedIn handle is because I never go on there. My team manages it. Do you know that? We'll send it out to you guys. You'll find me. I'm out there. The Kelly Roach Show.
What's your final word in terms of like why this all really matters deep on your heart in like a minute or less, and then we'll wrap up.
Because every dream just comes down to us following through on it. It's really as simple as that, right? It's knowing what we really, really want out of our lives, and then it's making sure that our daily practice aligns with that. And I think it's literally that simple.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. So fun to get to be here with you.
You got it. Kelly will be on main stage tomorrow.